The first thing are one-on-ones. For both people new to this and people that have been doing this a while, you should know that one-on-ones have always been and always will be included with the monthly tuition, a single 30-minute one-on-one every week. That's always been the case with tuition, and I'm going to keep it the same as that, even though we're changing the tuition rates because of the class limitations. And I'll get to tuition toward the end here. I've been telling everybody I want every single student to get a one-on-one. I think this year really proved how beneficial they are, because lots of times in the past most students never took advantage of it. And the performance this year, despite being online, despite being outside, the technical proficiency, multiple black belts who have seen the students over the course of the year it's unanimous that the students are performing better and stronger on a technical ability. So while we haven't been able to do the self-defense and the sparring this year, they look much cleaner, and when we can start doing the partner work and the contact, I think it's going to have a huge impact in that as well, and everybody's ability to perform on that stuff as well. So the issue we've been having, a lot of people have been arguing about going back on Zoom, which we may not have a choice but to do Zoom, is I can understand it because the Zoom classes, they're chaotic, they're difficult. You know, it's different. For me, I have my computer, so I can see everybody up on the screen, so it's easy for me to keep it. But for people that are just doing it through a phone, the fact that Zoom keeps kicking back and forth, it can be kind of isolating and chaotic, especially for new people. So the Zoom classes really are more social, so that everyone can see each other and, you know, kind of keep touch, quote unquote, and it's easier for me to make announcements. But the real training is through the one-on-ones at this time. You know, eventually when we can do indoor classes and full classes again, I'm still going to want the one-on-ones because it just helps me, again, tailor to every person individually. But you know, I get classes are important too, especially when we do partner work and having a big community. The other thing is, as we talked about with the changes we implemented last September, one thing is every student has to have a weekly goal meeting anyway. All right, 5 to 10 minutes every single week where me or a mentor goes through with them, sets their goals, discusses where things were, reviews notes to help teach children how to practice, teach students how to good practice habits, good note-taking skills. So if you got to do that anyway, you might as well get the whole half hour in and get the training that way. So what I'm telling everyone is, if you don't have a one-on-one or you've moved away from your one-on-one, get it scheduled ASAP. I have slots. I'll put up the full schedule coming forward. Typically Wednesdays is my training day and my day to catch up on stuff, so I really try to steer clear of having one-on-ones on Wednesdays, but I still have time Monday, Tuesday, a little bit Thursday, and Friday. So there are slots. I know with school and everything else it can be tricky, but it's more than worth it to get a one-on-one. So some quick things for December, just for people to be kept up to date. December is usually treated as a workshop month. I really want to push that this year, especially as testing's done. You know, our testing's coming in the 23rd and 24th. So it's really just kind of 3 weeks after Thanksgiving. We have the holiday party typically there, and then we have our 2-week break for the holiday. So what I really want people to focus on this month is cleaning up just those last minute bad habits. It may not even be technical. Like a lot of the orange belts and white belts are on point as far as having their technical stuff cleaned up. So what I'd suggest in their case are things like push-ups, sit-ups, splits, physical things, not just technical things. Because I really want to, in January, make sure that everyone is really clean so we can start pushing. Because again, what we want to do is try to get the technical stuff clean through yellow belt. So by green belt, we're working a lot more application. And when we move inside in January, or even earlier, but we're going to be hopefully, well, I'm not going to spoil it. I want it to be a surprise for everybody. But anyway, it's important to have all your technique cleaned up. especially for the higher ranks, because I am going to give them the option to test in January if they want to, versus waiting all the way to March if they want to. And that way they could test January and then May, so they could potentially get 3 tests in next year. This is regarding the green belts. As far as Reagan and Autumn, we'll see where it is. Autumn can't test until December of 2021. Reagan, it depends on her testing this in November, and then when she tests again later. Some of the one-on-ones through December may be taught actually by the green belts, the brown belts, or the black belts. This is partially comes into play with the leadership development focus we talked about in September, as far as developing our students into leaders, into mentors. So December, because it's a workshop month, because it's a little bit slower pace and we're not trying to get ready for tournaments or testing, this is a good opportunity for them to step up and really make sure that, get some teaching experience, take a bit more responsibility in the school. And that's the main reason, is I think it'll be a positive thing for their growth. It'll help the white belts and orange belts get used to and start looking toward these guys as mentors, as people that they can go to for assistance, rather than just me. So that if for some reason I am down and out, like what happened last summer, instead of me basically popping pain pills and forcing myself into class, I can rely on some of these other guys, and the younger ranks will automatically know who to rely on. So there's that. I will still personally handle all intro students. So intro students are anyone who has not had a test yet. So brand new people with no stripes, just because I feel it's very important for, new students to know that, hey, I'm the teacher. I don't want to show up, a month later and be like, who's this guy with the weird hair? One thing is, I know a couple kids have talked about wanting to continue training through the holiday break versus taking 2 weeks off. That is my break, and I'm excited this year because with the Hagon, I might actually be able to have a vacation for the first time in like 4 years. So I'm probably going to be AWOL for the most part, but I did tell some of the higher ranks that I had kids interested, so they're thinking about it, and hopefully they'll be able to do that so people can train if they want to train. I know I used to do that for my sensei when he would take his holiday Christmas break. I would still teach classes for those who wanted to come in during that time period. So if you do want to get some training in during the holiday, let me know really quick, as soon as possible, so I can try to get an assistant, a green, a brown, or a black belt with you. I know once Autumn gets through her finals, she'll have some more time, and she's expressed interest in doubling down on karate in the break between semesters. So we'll see how that goes out. But yeah, let me know if you want to train. And of course, the green, brown, and black belts, let me know as soon as you can if you want to do one-on-ones and how much you want to do. So coming into plans, I have 3 plans. The first 2 are, the first one, Plan A, is in regarding to reopening through up until the holiday break. So the reopening is as soon as I get permission from the health department. I have ordered the filters that we need. I have ordered the sanitation supplies. I am literally just in a holding pattern until I can get an inspection scheduled in both the Oneida and Madison County health departments to come in and tell us that, yes, the facility looks good. Yes, my safety plan and policy looks good, and I'm clear to reopen. So I'm on the phone with people. Hopefully, it's actually going to be in several weeks. I'd actually like to before December, possibly even before Thanksgiving. It's just going to depend on how fast people get back in touch with me. So how this schedule is going to work is Mondays will be, of course, Cheryl, and Tuesdays in Hamilton will be inside. So as I told everybody, last night and the night before, that we're not going to be doing any more outdoor until, summer or late spring of next year. If you look at this schedule, part of being inside is I am limited to class sizes because of social distancing. And rather than posting squares where people don't have a lot of freedom of movement, I was talking with Mrs. Bonnie Streeter, who runs the Zendokai Johnstown School, and she put lanes in. So that gives kids freedom to actually move around in their lane. It reduces the amount of students that I can have in one spot, but ultimately it allows for more effective training, especially with some of the other ideas that she gave me moving forward, which again, I'm keeping as a surprise for people. So we got to keep everything in groups. From what I have measured out, it'll only be 4 students per group. So this is kind of the rough schedule that I have here through this year. The thing to keep in mind is I do need, let me say this way. I am planning on having 5 minutes in between each group to clean. However, someone mentioned that the state is mandating at least 15 minutes to 20 minutes in between. I'm not quite sure if that's set in stone like I have to, because I'd just be doing a lot of sitting around. But for the space I need, I'm pretty confident I can clean it in 5 minutes or less effectively and safely. So these classes, while it's a half-hour slot, will only actually be 25 minutes. So the last 5 minutes, I'll have to shuttle kids out, sanitize, then the next group comes in. And again, this is a little bit up in the air until it is confirmed by the health department that is an effective plan, but this is what I want to do. If they say no, I have to have 15 minutes in between each group, then I will have to move the advanced students up a half hour later, so they would go from 7:30 to 8, and then space everybody out accordingly. I appreciate everyone's patience with this, but because of social distancing requirements, while still trying to do effective training, this is how it's going to have to be. I could technically fit 8 people in Sherrill and maybe up to 6 in Hamilton, but again, at the end of the day, you're in a little box, so there's not much you could do. So it's more effective this way for your training. So this is, again, the ideal plan, what I'm hoping for Mondays and Tuesdays. We are still going to do Fridays on Zoom for all students from both locations. And again, I'm still doing one-on-ones through all of this in between. How we will work is for those who have not tested, again, those intro level students, they will be 5 to 5:30 p.m. I will only be doing intro classes as needed. Once the students get their feet wet, they know what's going on, they get a test under them so they're not lost, then they will move up to the 5:30 to 6 p.m. class for everybody. And that's how we're going to do it that way. Just to kind of keep, because again, the Zoom classes are more social, so everyone can see each other as much as possible, know that there's other students, and we can try to keep that sense of community, sense of family going within the school. Plan B, this is the lockdown contingency. This could be in plan at any point in time, depending on how numbers spike and what the requirements are from the state. This is Zoom only, so we are not allowed to train in person. What I will do in that case is I'm going to do away with Monday and Tuesday classes. I will keep the time slots open from 5 to 8 p.m. for bonus one-on-ones. So if people want to get extra training in that week to make up for the fact that there is no class, then I will do that. It's on a first come first serve, but I will rotate. So if everybody wants to do that, which I highly encourage, getting an extra one-on-one in, I'll just cycle through the kids. So everyone gets a chance to do it. It's not just the same group of kids getting all the extra training. We'll cycle through that as much as possible. And then Fridays will be the same as Plan A with intro classes and everyone at 5:30 to 6. This includes Mighty Monkeys, so it's all ranks. It's anybody who has already had a test will be the 5:30 to 6 p.m. So that's Plan B. Again, this could go into play at any point in time. So if we have to lock down, this is where we'll be. And so then Plan C is for January, when we get back from holiday break. So this one is, again, Monday Sherrill, Tuesdays Hamilton inside. Same schedule as we had previously. Same potential conflicts that we got to work on. What changes is that Thursdays will be in Sherrill as well, and Fridays will be in Hamilton. So it's more like the old schedule, which was Mondays and Thursdays Sherrill's, Tuesday, Fridays Hamilton. You'll notice, though, the groups are different. I know in Hamilton, I already need a group 4 because of spacing requirements. And if we get more students, I may need a group 5 or 6. The advanced class is the same. The Mighty Monkey might be different because advanced, we have just 6 advanced ranks. So I can keep the same 3 and 3 for everything. So this is where things might get a little muddled because obviously if I don't have enough students for 5 and 6, I don't want to leave that open time. So how we're going to work it is a couple quick things. One, the Monday and Thursday classes in Cheryl will be streamed on Zoom since it has internet access. So I will have a tripod. It'll be set up so that students can follow along with the class. Everybody is welcome to participate in that class regardless of location. So if you want to get extra training in, or say you're in group 1, 2, and 3 and you aren't in 4, 5, and 6, you can still follow in, or vice versa. If you're group 4, 5, and 6, you can follow along Monday there. And Hamilton kids can follow in as well, because I know some kids, some families are still not comfortable about being in person and inside, which is completely okay. So this is your way to still get some classes. Because I will have the phone, I won't be able to give you a lot of direction, unfortunately, but you can still see what is being taught and follow along. And again, this is why the one-on-ones are still so important, so you can get that direct feedback from me, even in cases where, you know, I may not be able to see you on the phone. If there are no groups 4 through 6, or, you know, there's a group 4 but there's not a group 5 or a group 6, the test slots will be filled based on test priority and student rotation. So what that means is students that are testing, they get first shot at coming in the extra night to get ready for testing. And then the rest, kind of like how I talked about with the one-on-ones in place of Zoom classes on Mondays and Tuesdays, is I just cycle through. So, you know, you might come in, you might get once a week, you might get to come in on a Thursday once or twice a month extra. I'll just cycle through the students by group until we get through, and we'll just keep rotating through it that way. Advanced students, because they're advanced and they need more training for their testing, that's why they have the second day. However, if we do get more numbers, then they're going to either have to choose between losing their Thursday, so I can put in another group, or Friday for Hamilton people, or moving their classes to a later time up toward 8:30, even 9. So there's that. Again, just cycle back through all this to look at the plans. I will be putting out the schedule both for one-on-ones and for the groups, so you can sign up for your preferred group. As always, you sign up in or give me 3 times in order of preference, and I try to do the best I can. This is going to take some experimentation. It's going to take some getting used to. It's going to take some inconvenience, but I need everybody on board with this to keep going. Getting things up and running was a pretty significant investment, so I need to make sure people are in this, whether we're on Zoom, whether we're doing this awkward grouping. I'm trying my best to get everybody in there and give them the most efficient and the best training that they can possibly do, and that means, you know, dicing things up into these smaller chunks and having to deal with maybe less than twice a week, because the alternative was letting you go in there twice a week with more kids, while still, of course, socially distanced and safe, but less effective training. And I just don't think ultimately that's where we want to go, because we are martial artists, not a social club. So while I want it to be fun, I want everyone to enjoy it, and I don't want it to be a complete pain in the butt. At the same time, we got to make sure we're doing things so we keep getting better and keep improving. So what it comes down to is tuition. Right now we're doing optional donations that will continue until January. So how this works is I've always based my classes off of $10 an hour, because everything is so reduced as far as class times. How we're doing this is $20 a month for 1 class a week. So that's what everyone starts at, is $20 a month. If you are only doing online or only one-on-ones, like you're not even following along with the classes, you're just doing the one-on-ones, this is the same for you. Again, the one-on-one is normally included with your tuition for classes, but if all you're doing is one-on-ones, you gotta contribute something. So yeah, if you get one one-on-one included with your class tuition. I guess that's the way to do it. So if all you're doing is the one-on-one, that is your tuition. Hopefully I've made that clear enough. Because we have a rotating schedule and because there's going to be spaces for optional and additional one-on-ones, $5 since it's just a half hour. So every time you come in for an extra class, it's your turn up, or an extra one-on-one, it's an extra $5 tacked onto your tuition, or you can pay me right then and there. For advanced students, that you're getting 2 classes a week, or anybody that's getting 2 classes a week consistently, it's $40 a month. The full tuition, the one thing that we've had an advantage of is it used to be people kind of always paid me randomly. Tuition is the first class of every month. I want to get everybody. I want to use this opportunity to get everybody on that to make my paperwork much easier. So tuition, the first class of every month. As far as these $5 extra lesson costs, you can pay them the same class. You can hand me $5 at the end of class, or you can just add it to the following month's tuition. All right. So say if January you pay the 20, you take 2 extra classes, then pay 30 in February. I'm flexible with that aspect. Let's see what else. That was the end of that. So yeah, that's what I have working forward, and we're going to try to make happen. I appreciate everyone's patience and support